Welcome to the A.D.K Rock and Metal channel. My name is Kirk, and today I'm going to be looking at the new EP from a band called Orme, and the title of this record is No Serpents, No Saviours. So who is this band? Where are they from? So Orme is a drum metal trio, and they're based in Hertfordshire in the southeast of England. The band consists of Jimmy Long on bass, Luke Thellin on drums, and Tom Clements, guitarist, and he's also the vocalist. This is a follow-up to their 2023 self-titled debut. Now that record was 1 hour and 35 minutes of painstaking drum metal, and it was highly enjoyable. This is a one-track EP of 24 minutes, and it's a changing direction, but is it successful? Are they taking a big risk with this release? So when we say this is a departure or a change in direction, what do we mean in the context of a drum metal band? Imagine a progressive thrash metal band writing a grindcore album. That's what we've got here. We've gone from drum metal to a really heavy, in-your-face form of sludge metal, as aggressive as a band like Thou, for example, who released an absolutely crushing album this year. So listening to a long-form piece of music, and this is long-form because it's one track and 24 minutes, that can be challenging at the best of times, not least when the tempo is slow and depressing. Yet, No Serpents, No Saviours is quite easy to absorb as an extreme metal composition. Let me explain how you can easily get into this. First of all, you need to split it into two parts. So part one covers the first 15 minutes, and it starts with a shrill of guitar feedback and signals quite early on that this will not be a follow-up to the self-titled 2023 debut. The guitars here plough through the speakers like the collision impact of a tsunami destroying dense human settlements. Jimmy Long's bass rings out in an ugly distortion to the point where you can't really tell which is the guitar and which is the low-end 4-string in the mix. Here, Tom Clements sounds like Beelzebub as imagined in a Hollywood film. His words growl like a hound with a stake before him. The tempo is slow inevitably, but the drums are busy and the amp overdrive is loud enough to make you sit up. Now, they may be a band famous for their patience and reluctance to give you a dose of adrenaline without working for it. That's certainly the feeling in the local scene. But they throw out that rulebook on this EP. This is like Thou or a band like Some, but imagine that defiled by the nasty death doom of the latest Strigoi album. And it's very much like this up until the 6-minute mark when they pull back from what I would call the catafalque conveyor belt. So imagine the coffin going through, the curtains close, and it's going to go into the incinerator. They pull back from that for a minute of contemplation with whispered vocals and clean guitar musings. Clements here explores the higher reaches of his fretboard when you return to a sustained siege of your Adam's apple with wave frequencies that ought to be fucking banned for the sake of your health. Listen to his hand as it slams down on the guitar strings in palm muted motion. Does it leave you with a twitching nose? It most certainly fucking does. You dare not imagine how this would sound at a rehearsal room at full volume. This really would be making your stomach implode. And I've got to say, the concentration level of Luke Thellin on drums is perhaps the most impressive element of this long-form bludgeoning, because his is definitely the most difficult task in the band. For example, the pause at 11 minutes and 40 seconds must feel like a welcome refueling point for him until he resumes his labour a minute later and is back into it with flailing arms and crumbling hi-hats. So, as I said in the beginning to this, you need to split this into two parts. Orme grind their way through the sludge metal assault up until the 15-minute mark, and then use the climax at 15 minutes and 10 seconds to begin again with a simple 2-beat drum. So we can call this part 2. It gives Jimmy Long a chance to express himself here with nimble finger movements, on the bottom bass string. By contrast, Tom Clements lets his guitar swish in a loop of a volume swell until coming back in style with gaping pitch bends that ache like old wounds reopened by new traumas. The final 6 minutes are like a closing set at the Desert Fest with all instruments at peak doom metal velocity and actually maximum improv here as well. You can cling to latent melodic formations and the lead guitar phrasings as your head swoops forward in a comfortable fatigue. The drenching delay effects, they blur your eyes like when you're the lenses on your glasses meet a sudden burst of dry dust when you're walking past, for example, a building site. So it's not easy to sit through, but it's not a demanding experience either. Orme show here that they can write art in the same league as a band like Sumac. They might even surprise us by exploring more improvisation on the next release. Certainly if they could do that like the latter, that would push them up even higher. But then again, every release from this trio seems to change genres, so I don't know, maybe they can give us a grindcore album on the next effort? So what are my final thoughts on this then? It's a surprise change of style, and it shows that Orme can bludgeon with the heaviest bands in the death doom and sludge metal genres. It's remarkable how easy it is to get into this, even though it's actually so hostile and so heavy. The drum work is the most impressive element of this music, and I'd say Tom Clements is an underrated guitarist. He pulls off some emotive lead guitar phrasing here towards the end, which will really connect with you. Now, although this album doesn't drone the walls down with the same patience as its predecessor, it provides a clear contrast to the self-titled 2023 record. So what is our verdict on this then? So as a reminder, there are 4 categories when we come to score an album or an EP on the A.D.K Rock and Metal channel. The highest score you would be considered a headliner. The second highest score you would be considered main support. The third highest score we would call you an opener, as in the opening band on a bill. And if we can't connect with the music and just don't like it, then we would give the verdict or the judgment of back to rehearsals. So you can tell, I would hope by the tone of this review, that I did enjoy listening to the 24 minutes of this progressive sludge metal death doom. Not quite a masterpiece, but something I could easily go back to again. So for that reason, I would consider this a main support. Orme could easily support Sun or Sumac when they tour through England. So go out and buy it on a Digipack CD, download it and stream it. The album was self-released on the 23rd of August 2024. And thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe to the A.D.K Rock and Metal YouTube channel. I'll see you on the next one.